Good morning and welcome to my kitchen. It's time to make Vietnamese two ways with a spatchcock chicken and belly pork. Right, this recipe is taken from our 4 ways chapter in our new book, Peter Sidwell's Kitchen. It is a cracker of a recipe. Vietnamese dressing, 2 different roast joints, perfect for an alternative Sunday dinner. So let's start with our belly pork. Now, I'm going to roast it on some onions. So I'm just going to slice the onions first so that I can put the pork, here comes the dog, on top of these. And the reason for that is to add some moisture to the base of the pork so the top roasts beautifully and the bottom keeps nice and moist and hydrated. And that's kind of the secret to good belly pork. You need it to be like low, slow and deliciously crispy on top. So what I'm going to do is put my roasting tray and my onions on a cooling rack, all right? Might look a bit wacky, but it'll make sense in a minute, I promise. So once you've got all your onions there, then our pork can sit on top. Now this is belly pork, a lovely cut of meat, if you cook it right, okay? A lot of people will be like, oh no, it's a bit too fatty. It is, but that fattiness keeps it really hydrated if you cook it properly. So I went to Lindsay's Butchers in Cockermouth. Spoke to Richard yesterday and Carlos very kindly picked it up for me. It's a lovely piece of Cumbrian pork, belly pork. It's nice and dry cured. It's perfect for what we want. But this skin needs scoring so that we can crisp it right up. So nice sharp knife and score. You kind of want, can you see that cut there, Emily?
Yeah.
So it's like a centimetre cuts in. So every centimetre you need to do that. Now, if you haven't got the patience or a sharp knife, you need to get one. But you can ask the butcher if they'll score it for you, and most butchers will sort of pre-score it for you, but tell them you want it like every centimetre. Because this will allow moisture out, it will allow salt in, and that will make it nice and crispy. And belly pork is also really good for leftovers. It's one of the cuts, because of the fattiness of it, it's like shoulder of pork. It reheats really nicely. So it's worth sort of buying a bigger joint than you might want to eat in one sitting, knowing that it's going to be delicious the next day. You could slice it up for a stir fry. You could just pop it in, dice it, put it into a casserole with some cider and some stock and just stick it in the slow cooker. So a little bit of oil on there, like tablespoon, and just rub that in, okay? And don't be afraid just to get in all those little cuts and just really work that oil in because that's going to help it crisp up, okay? Then we're going to transfer it on to our onions. So now we've got our roasting, like our cooling rack. We've got our onions with lots of moisture in them. That's going to steam up into the pork and then the top is going to crisp up beautifully. So on with some sea salt. And we want to sort of push that in, yeah? Take your time and just make sure that that salt is going to draw all the moisture out, okay? Then we'll put a little bit of black pepper on. And in fact, what I'm going to do is maybe season the underside with the pepper. And then on top, tuck all those onions in underneath your pork, okay? And I'm just going to wash my hands. Right, we're good?
How many people would this feed?
I think this would serve 6.
Right.
Good 6 people.
You don't need a lot of it.
No, and this was about, I think we actually bought a slightly bigger joint, we've cut it down. So I think this is about 22, 23 quid.
Right.
So
£4 a portion, it's not bad.
What is it, £4 a portion?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah, £3-4 a portion. It's not every day, you know, belly pork's not a cheap cut of meat, particularly.
It's a bit of a luxury to have on a Sunday.
Delicious. It's nicer than loin of pork.
Yeah.
Like, nicer than leg of pork, in my opinion, if you cook it right. So, we're going to cook this 200 degrees for like 20 minutes, then we're going to knock it down to 170, and we're just going to let it tick over for a couple of hours. Right, now I also said we're going to show you 2 different ways of using this amazing dressing, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So we're going to do a spatchcock chicken. And spatchcock basically means we're going to take a whole chicken. This would normally take 90 minutes to cook, hour and a half, 180 degrees. But if you take the backbone out and you flatten it, it'll cook in an hour, okay? And it means that we can just like serve it all up with this dressing. Wait till I show you, it's absolutely delicious. So normal, medium-sized free-range chicken. So we're going to turn it over, and this backbone is what we need to remove, okay? So I'm going to take a sharp knife, and I'm just going to cut through. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same again on this side. You can use poultry scissors if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Whatever you feel most comfortable doing.
Can you use that backbone for anything?
You could use it for making chicken stock.
Right.
Chuck it in the slow cooker with some veggies, and you'll make a lovely chicken stock.
Right.
Be amazing. So yeah, you don't need to waste it at all. So I'm just going to pop that onto there. And then now, we've got our spatchcock chicken, yeah? So it's laid flat. Now to speed the cooking up as well, we're just going to score the chicken leg and thigh. So cut it every centimetre or so, maybe every couple of centimetres, until it hits the bone. And that will allow the heat to penetrate into the most dense part of the chicken the quickest. And it means we can get loads of flavour in. I'm also going to put a little cut. Do you see where that wing is there? Can you see that?
Yeah.
I'm just going to put a little cut there. I'm not going to score all the chicken breast because this is the thickest bit, this is the thinnest bit, okay? So I'm just going to score the thickest bit because I want everything to cook at the same time. So I'm just going to pop that on our tray, and then we'll just get rid of this for now. And we're pretty much going to do what we did with the pork. A little bit of oil, yeah? And then just rub that over the skin, yeah? And then we're going to season it up. A little bit of pepper as well. Turn her over. And then back over like that. Right. Okay, so I'm going to get this into the oven, 180 degrees, that's going to take an hour. So we've shaved 30 minutes off the cooking process, okay? Okay, my belly pork and my spatchcock chicken are in the oven roasting, okay? So in the meantime, I'm going to show you a couple of things to serve with them. We're going to do pickled red onions in lime juice, which is a game changer, is it not, Emily?
Oh yeah, it's a good one, that.
Red onions or shallots soaked in lime juice, just amazing.
I do them all the time now. They're
Such a simple thing. And then we're also going to make our Vietnamese dressing, which is also a bit of a game changer. You can add it to all kinds of stuff. Salads, slaws, fish, pork, chicken, you name it. But first we'll get our red onions done. Okay? So, mandolin, you could use a knife if you like. I'm going to use a mandolin today because I want to get it so thin. Like, the thinner you can get them, the nicer they are, okay?
I don't like this.
I know, it makes you nervous, doesn't it, this mandolin?
Yeah.
It does me too, but, you know.
I really don't like it.
Especially when I'm doing it, I'm not looking.
Yes.
No, you need to be careful when you're doing this. I mean, you can do it with a knife. I'll do the other half with a knife and we can just sort of show you. But if I show you sort of how thin you need it, can you see that, Emily?
Yeah.
Yeah? We need it as thin as possible.
That's so you don't get like the kind of sharpness of the onion, and the lime juice allows it to...
We want the lime juice to make them super tangy. And then you will just, they're the most perfect thing to add to barbecues, like sausages, pork, you know, all sorts, lovely, anything rich like salmon or mackerel or anything like that. You know, anything that's rich this is the perfect counterbalance. And it's just a great thing to have in the fridge ready. Especially if you've got, you know, more onions than you need. I'm going to stop now because we haven't got time for Peter to get injured today.
No, we do not. You're quite right.
So, there's one lot. And then all I'm going to, where's the best place to show you?
Perfect.
There?
Yeah, go for it.
So what I'm going to do is just slice nice and slowly. Got a 20 centimetre cook's knife here. It's the Edge Keeper from Masterclass. So it's nice and sharp. Good weight on it. Take time. Curl your fingers up. So when you do slice, you don't slice your fingertips. Every last little bit. Now, if you don't want it in slices, you can dice it if you like, but you've got to make sure that it's super finely diced, because what you don't want is massive big chunks of red onion in lime juice. You want red onions that are pickled, so that acidity and that fruitiness of the lime just kind of it penetrates into the onion, so that it just becomes really delicious and pickly. You can put raw ginger in here as well. If you really like ginger, add a bit into your red onions as well, if you want to keep it on that sort of Asian style theme that we're going for. But I've got a simple preserving jar here. I think I got this from Cook, Serve and Enjoy. They're really good preserving jars. We use them all the time. Okay, right. In we go with that. Now, let's get a couple of limes in here.
I've just had a thought.
Yeah.
Is it only red onions that it would work with?
You can use shallots as well.
But not a white onion.
White onions I find are just a bit too oniony and a bit too strong. And I think they're too dominant. Yeah. Whereas a red onion or a shallot sort of gives in and lets the lime juice take over. So squeeze your lime in, turn it inside out, and then squeeze it again. Under no circumstances can you use bottled lime juice for this before Emily asks me.
Take the question.
Fresh is best. For this, you could probably use lemon if you wanted to, but it would give you a very different flavour profile on the pickling. You know, we're going Vietnamese on this, and they use limes in Vietnam more than anything. So that's why we've done this.
I love the colour these go.
Yeah, they go like pink, don't they? The sort of the redness of the onions kind of just gives out. So what happens is you need to sort of mush it a little bit like that.
Scrunch them into.
Scrunch it up. Get the lime juice working. In fact, what I'm going to do is another lime in there. I think you can take it. Yeah.
How long do these last for in the fridge?
6 weeks, easy.
Really?
Easy. Yeah, because you're pickling, it's a preserving method.
They don't last long in our house.
No.
They never last for 6 weeks, I mean, I've never known.
Amazing in a sandwich. You know, just, if you've got a bit of leftover roast chicken or something like that, a little bit of these, amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Right, just wash my hands. Okay, so, basically, that's that done. Give it a good shake. And then pop it in the fridge, all right? The longer you leave it, the more amazing they become. Okay, so you could do it the night before, be it perfect. But if you've only got time to do it now while everything's cooking in the oven, that's okay too. Right, red onions are pickling away nicely. It's time to make the Vietnamese dressing. And this was kind of the whole point of the recipe in the book. It's actually 4 ways, the chapter. So within that recipe, we show you how to make these. We show you how to make the Vietnamese dressing, and then the most amazing belly pork, spatchcock chicken, salmon, yes, and sesame breaded aubergine steaks. Yeah.
Oh, they were good.
So you got 4 options, all with this amazing dressing. So I'll stop talking and we'll make this dressing. Somebody posted on Facebook the other day, stop talking. I was like, a bit harsh.
Love
bit
it.
Harsh.
Love it.
Bless them. Keyboard warriors. You gotta love them, haven't you? Right, so red onion. No, red chilli. Okay, I always go red chilli on this one.
Can you use green?
You can. I don't think it's as nice.
I prefer a red chilli, I think, when I'm cooking as well, to be fair.
I think red chillis are fruitier.
Yeah.
I think they're not as hot.
Yeah.
And they're kind of, you know, you could use dried chili flakes as a sort of
It's not like you
a
to say
second,
that,
a
Pete.
poor second, but you can't, you know, change it up.
Yeah.
If you're gonna change it, you know, if you can't get fresh red chili, then you can't get fresh red chili. But
what about like what type of chilies can you use? Is there any that you should avoid?
I mean, I wouldn't use Scotch bonnets because they're a bit more kind of Caribbean, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit there for the heat more.
The bird eye chilies you can get, but be sparing with them because they're like rocket fuel. Don't use that much bird eye chili, otherwise it'll blow your head off. You'll be in hospital. Everybody's chili tolerance is different. You know, you need to put as much or as little as you like. That's right for you, not for me. So, next, lime juice. Okay? Get nice, when you're in the supermarket or farmer's market or wherever you buy your limes, feel them. Yeah? Make sure they're a little bit soft so that you can really squeeze the juice out. Turn them inside out. Squeeze
That's the best trick, I think, one of the best tricks I've learned, turning them inside out, because...
The best trick?
One of many.
7 years we've been cooking together and filming and photographing. Many.
There's too many to pick, but it's one of my favourites.
It's like when people say to me, how did you first get on telly? You want a really good, like, oh, I made the most amazing dish and it was this and it was that and the other.
I've never asked you that question.
I made a sausage sandwich and I went up a mountain. I put it in a flask.
You put it in a flask, didn't you?
And I went up a mountain and ate it, and that's how I got on TV.
That's brilliant. I think that's a better story, Pete. Such simplicity. But
I've cooked for the king. I've cooked for Premier League football royalty. I've cooked for all sorts of people. And the most famous thing I've done is put a sausage sandwich in a flask and take it up a mountain.
Love it. I think that's brilliant. No, it's one of my favourites because you get the most out of your line.
It was.
You have taught me many tips and tricks, to be fair, in the cooking world.
Some things good, some things not so good. Right, okay. So we've got red chilli and lime juice. Now, Vietnamese food is quite different to what we might be normally used to. It's about all the senses, so it's about sweet, sour, hot, salty. It's about sort of blending those flavours together. So we've got soy sauce now, which is salty. I'm using light soy sauce, so it's a little bit cleaner. I used to be totally into dark soy sauce, and John Fell moved me away from it.
Right.
I don't know why.
Do you think it's just it's
a
more
bit
refreshing
it kind
to
of
have
masks the flavour too much?
But
what I do find is I use a bit more light soy sauce. And my daughter's a little bit obsessed with soy sauce, so we've moved her onto light soy sauce as well. So what you need to do now is you've got to taste it, okay? So we're going to do like a tasting session here, Emily.
Okay.
I'll put some on for you. So it's about getting the acidity and the tang of the lime juice to balance with the saltiness of the soy sauce, okay? And then you've got the warmth of the chili. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a little taste. You have a little taste? Oh, I thought you were coming on camera then.
Not quite.
Have a little taste. There's a bit of chilli in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
But it's still quite fresh.
Yeah.
You get the heat, but it's fresh.
Yeah. So it's getting that balance of salty versus tangy versus chilli. Now we're going to add fragrance, okay? Hold on to your spoon, because we're not finished.
No.
Fresh mint. I mean, we would normally have it with roast lamb and stuff like that in this country, but in Vietnam they use a lot of mint, and it adds a wonderful fragrance. Really, really good. Have you had Vietnamese food, Carlos? Oh, he's plugged in. Never mind. Si, senor. You could have done your Spanish impression then, Emily.
It's not going to happen. Sorry.
I actually discovered Vietnamese food while I was on the road filming Britain's Best Bakery. We're in Brighton, of all places.
Oh, wow.
And we went to Mitch Turner, and my co-host, and then Ross Blair, who was the director of the show. And he knew Brighton a lot better than we did. And he was like, oh, come on, we'll go to this Vietnamese restaurant. I was like, yeah, sure, no, why not? And I tasted it, and I was like, oh, I love this food. I can't wait to go to Vietnam.
You introduced me to Vietnamese food because it wasn't really a thing I'd ever experienced.
No, well, we're quite far removed from
yeah,
it,
so it was kind of nice when you introduced me to it, like through things like this.
We've got a Vietnamese takeaway restaurant in Keswick now, so I'm looking forward to trying that. Little Saigon, I believe it's called.
Oh.
So, next time you're in the Lake District and you fancy a Vietnamese, you'll be able to get one. So, I'm just shredding it up nice and finely, rolling and rocking my knife through the mint, not bruising it. Okay, and then in with all that mint, yeah? Loads of it. Don't use dried, and don't use the jar of mint sauce. It doesn't work.
Just taking my question.
Well, you know the answer to it, Emily.
I do.
Fresh is best on this one.
I'm asking for the viewers.
You could push use dried mint. It's not as good. It's not as good.
Suppose it wouldn't like fill, like how yours is like filled the dressing there.
Yeah.
It, like the bowl, you wouldn't get that with dried mint, would you?
No, it becomes just a bit too sort of heady. Right. Let me get you another spoon and try it now with the mint. Have a little taste, see what you think. So now it's got fragrance.
Oh, wow.
It's got balance.
That completely changes it.
That is going to cut the richness through that pork brilliantly. And it's such a simple thing to do. And what I would suggest that you do is if you could make this dressing in advance, but don't add the mint, all right? Mint goes in last, the freshness, maintain the freshness. So you could just keep the lime, the soy and the chili in a jar like this in the fridge and it'll keep for a few weeks, easy. And you know, when you've got a bit of roast chicken left, pick it off from dinner, put it in a bowl, chuck a few tablespoons of that on, throw the mint through it and then put it in your lunchbox, take to work the next day. It'll be really, really delicious. You could just throw it over noodles if you've got some of those left over, stir it through rice, things like that.
Got a lot of things it can go with, isn't it?
Just a simple fillet of fish out of the freezer, put it in some foil, a couple of spoons of that on, wrap it up, whack it in the oven, done. Finish with mint, be delicious. Right, so what we're going to do is we're now going to wait for our belly pork and our chicken to cook, and we're going to serve it up with these two. Okay, right, look at this belly pork. This is going to be delicious. So, just lift it off. Look, can you listen to that? Crispy to a T. And all the juices, and it's steamed from underneath and roasted on top. And then we've also got our spatchcock chicken here, which has roasted in an hour. All right? So super easy, crisp, cooked, and ready to go. All the good juices there. Now, Emily, which one are we going to try first?
Ooh, surprise me. It's like a West Cumbrian's dream, that, isn't it?
Absolutely is. Meat upon meat. Right, let's have a little look. Okay, so let's just carve a little bit of this chicken here. Oh, look at that, perfect. Now, my personal choice is what you do is you take some of this and you kind of just drench it.
Nice.
So it'll go into all the little nooks and crannies, yeah? Like so. Right, and then let's get some of these pickled red onions. And then you just kind of, I mean, you just serve it all on a board and tuck in, but in terms of, have a little taste of that, Emily. See what you think of that. Go on, it's an all-in-oneer. If you can, I'm going to have a taste. Oh, yeah. That is so good, honestly. You've got to try that. Right, belly pork. This is what you've been waiting for, isn't it, Emily? Oh, listen to that.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, look at that. It's like a mixed grill. Listen.
Ooh.
I remember when we photographed this and we were nibbling it.
Yeah.
It was a good one. It was one of those good days. Oh. Wow.
That chicken's so juicy.
I know. And it's tender. So what I'm going to do for you, Emily, look, we're just going to dip it. Some red onions. Try that. There we go. Have a little taste of that one. Honestly, it is absolutely delicious. The combination of the Vietnamese dressing that's salty, it's hot, it's sour, it's fragrant, cuts right through the richness of the belly pork that is just, I mean, just listen. That's what you want from belly pork. And then a simple roast chicken, spatchcock, roasted in an hour with all the delicious pickled shallots, red onions, everything absolutely delicious. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you want to get in the kitchen and cook this. I'll see you in the next episode.